Hello, welcome back to the second video of the Tribunal Final Address series. Peter Obi just submitted his final address at the Election Tribunal. There are 5 key grounds under which he and the Labour Party are asking the court to nullify the declaration of Bola Tinubu as president. I cannot fit all of them into one video. It will be too long, so I'm splitting it into 5 short videos to be uploaded one each day for this week. The first video is based on Bola Tinubu's forfeiture of $460,000 to the US government, which represents, quote, proceeds of narcotics trafficking and money laundering. If you have not seen this video, the link will be in the description below. You need to see it. If you do, like me, you become convinced as to why that case is a really bad case for Bola Tinubu. As I said in that video, I'm taking my time to analyze and properly present these videos because that is what Peter Obi and the legal team are trying to do as well. They want obedient and even non-obedient to have access to this information. I've tried to break it down so that everyone can fully understand the issues at stake. This is important because if the judges play hanky-panky with their ruling, you'll be able to tell. Nigerians are quiet now because they rely on the judiciary to do the right thing. But how can you tell if the judiciary does the right thing if you don't even know what the right thing is? Now that you understand why you must watch this video to the end and also watch all the other relatively short videos in this series, let's get into it. Before we start though, I was going to make an appeal for subscribers, but I won't do so. This issue is not about subscribers, but if you feel I'm doing a good job and you have not subscribed to this channel, well, you may subscribe. You can't blame INEC for disappointing Nigerians when you yourself have not done the right thing by subscribing to this channel. Okay, I'm only half joking. Seriously, I appreciate all your support. Even those who watch and complain about my personal opinions, you are well appreciated. Enough said. Let's get started with what Peter Obi and the Labour Party said in their final address about INEC's failure in the use of beavers and the e-transmission of results during the presidential election. Peter Obi and the Labour Party started by saying that, as stipulated by law, INEC introduced the use of modern technology for the conduct of the 2023 general election. By this, INEC presented or provided that it will use the bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS for the accreditation of voters in the polling unit, as well as for the upload and transmission of the results of the election in real time on the day of the election onto the INEC results viewing portal IREV. They further noted that not only did INEC introduce this, they campaigned that the process will ensure the integrity and the credibility of the election results. However, as the election progressed, INEC not only failed to electronically transmit all the results, many of the few they transmitted were blurred, mutilated, blank, and or unreadable. When Peter Obi and the Labour Party asked INEC for the physical documents, even with the court order, they blatantly refused to provide all the documents. This is key, my friends. How do you want a judge to rule in your favor when you refuse to obey their order during the proceedings? Peter Obi and the Labour Party also addressed the claim that the election transmission was made impossible because of technical glitches. They argued that the presidential election was conducted at the same time, on the same day, at the same respective polling units with the National Assembly elections. Yet, the results of the National Assembly elections were successfully uploaded, transmitted from the BVAS to the IREV portal. Strangely, only the results of the presidential election equally held on the same day in the same polling unit using the same infrastructure was not able to be transmitted. That is indeed strange. INEC publicly said to Nigerians and the international community that, as provided by the Electoral Act 2022, that they would use technology for the conduct of the election. By the use of technology, INEC means that it will use the BVAS for both accreditation of voters, upload and transmission of the results of the election on the day of election in real time to the INEC results portal. Peter Obi and the Labour Party cited the provisions of Section 60, subsection 5 of the Electoral Act 2022, which clearly provided that the presiding officer shall transfer the results, including total number of accredited voters and the results of the ballot, in a manner as prescribed by the Commission. But what does that mean? The Act did say that INEC has the power to transfer the result ballot in a manner as prescribed by the Commission. So what's the problem, you may ask? Well, that is the point. The Commission did prescribe a manner, and the manner is electronic transmission of results. Peter Obi and the Labour Party added that INEC explicitly provided in the regulations and guidelines for the conduct of the election 2022, as well as in the manual for the election officials in 2023, step-by-step processes for the collation, uploading, and transmission of the results of the election from the polling units to the IREV. Listen up, friends. This is the heart of the matter. APC and Bola Tinubu supporters have been arguing that INEC can choose the process it feels right. True. But they did choose a process. The problem is that they did not follow the process that they chose. How smart people argue against this logic is beyond me. I believe what will really finish Bola Tinubu and INEC in this case is that this same court has previously ruled that INEC regulations and guidelines for the conduct of elections, as well as the manual for election officials, must be obeyed. They said so in the case of Air Commodore Joshua versus INEC 2019. They also said so in the case of Buhari versus Obasanjo 2005, as well as in the case of Action Alliance versus INEC 2019. How can they now turn around and say INEC regulations and manuals do not matter? That's impossible. In Faleke versus INEC, the Supreme Court was also emphatic that the manual for election issued by INEC are not mere instructions or directions. Rather, they are subsidiary legislations which have the force of law. They have their origin from the Constitution and the Electoral Act. Wow, this is amazing. In case you are in doubt, here is what paragraph 38 subsection 1 and subsection 2 of the INEC regulations and guidelines say. Quote, on completion of all the polling unit voting and results procedures, the presiding officer shall 1. Electronically transmit or transfer the result of the polling unit direct to the collation system as prescribed by the Commission. 2. Use the beavers to upload a scanned copy of the EC8A to the INEC Result Viewing Portal IREV as prescribed by the Commission. You get the idea. Peter Obi and the Labour Party argue that the combined reading of these guidelines shows that the result electronically transmitted or transferred shall serve as the benchmark for a proper collation of the result of the election in a polling unit. They then finished INEC and Bola Tinubu off by using INEC's own words against them. Let me read it for you. Quote, one of the problems noticed in the electoral process is the irregularities that take place between the polling units after the announcement of results at the point of result collation. Sometimes results are hijacked, exchanged, or even destroyed at the polling unit or on the way to the collation centers. It becomes necessary to apply technology to transmit the data from the polling unit such that the results are collated up to the point of result declaration. The real-time publishing of polling unit level results on IREV portal and transmission of results using beavers demonstrates INEC's commitment to transparency in results management. Okay, it is clear beyond reasonable doubt that INEC was committed to this electronic transmission of results. But what about their argument that they wanted to do so, but they were unable because of technical glitches? Well, Peter Obi and the Labour Party have an answer for that. They cited a legal doctrine known as estoppel. What is estoppel? The term estoppel refers to a legal principle that prevents someone from claiming something or making an argument that contradicts what they previously said or agreed to do. Peter Obi and the Labour Party noted that the law relating to estoppel is now firmly entrenched. In Access Bank versus NSITF, the Supreme Court said, quote, estoppel is now more than a rule of practice, and it can be rightly described as a substantive rule of law. Thus, by operation of the veritable rule of estoppel, a person ought not to be allowed to blow hot and cold, to affirm at one time and deny at another time. That is to say, to approbate and reprobate. End of quote. What this means is that when you make a commitment like INEC did, you are bound by that commitment. In the recent case of Oyetola and Anor versus INEC and ORS 2003, the Supreme Court clarified that while there is no part of the Electoral Act and INEC guidelines that require that election result of a polling unit should on the spot during the poll be transmitted to the INEC National Election Register of Database, the regulations provide for the beavers to be used to scan the complete result in Form EC8A and transmit or upload the scanned copy of the polling unit's result to the collation system and INEC Result Viewing Portal, IREV. End of quote. It is not the Electoral Act that binds INEC to the use of electronic transmission of results. It is INEC's own guidelines, which, as the Supreme Court says, has a force of law that must be obeyed. Okay, There goes the argument that INEC can change their mind in the middle of an election and adopt a different process. Bola Tinubu's final address also said that the decision of the High Court in Labour Party versus INEC delivered on 23 January 2023 ruled that electronic transmission of polling unit results to IREV is not mandatory. However, Peter Obi and the Labour Party noted that the decision of the Supreme Court on any point overrides and is final and superior to any pronouncement by any other lower court on the same point vis-a-vis a High Court. What Bola Tinubu paraded in that final address is a High Court ruling, but the Supreme Court have ruled on the same issue as I noted above. That ruling is what Peter Obi and the Labour Party are asking the Tribunal to follow. Bola Tinubu in their final address relied on INEC's excuse, as I said earlier, that technical glitches stopped them from uploading the presidential results. Peter Obi and the Labour Party countered that the Amazon Web Services expert provided documentary evidence of the health status of the Amazon Web Services AWS servers, showing that from the health status of the server, there was no report of any technical glitch on the day of the election. Honestly, guys, as you all know, there is nothing that INEC said during the proceedings that explains this obvious discrepancy. We reported here when Amazon Web Services expert, the owner of the server used by INEC, said that there was no problem on their server on the day of the election. How can the judges not rule in the favor of Peter Obi on this issue? As you know, INEC did upload some results onto the IRA, but a major part of the petition is that many of the uploads are blurred and cannot be read, as I mentioned before. Peter Obi and the Labour Party argued, I would say persuasively, that the overall effect of the upload of blurred images on the IREV was that the result of the election could neither be authenticated nor verified and thus lacked credibility and transparency. In their final address, Bola Tinubu said that, quote, "The results being uploaded on the IREV are as contained in the respective INEC forms, and that all the results being uploaded emanated from polling units where elections were conducted," end of quote. They are basically saying that the uploaded results also exist in physical forms from the polling units. But Peter Obi and the Labour Party countered that if those results existed, why then did INEC not provide them to the court even when they were ordered to do so by the court? Another key aspect of Bola Tinubu's final address is the complaint that Peter Obi and the Labour Party, as part of their petition, did not complain about acts like ballot box snatching, ballot box stuffing, violence, thuggery, etc. In response, Peter Obi and the Labour Party said that Bola Tinubu and APC completely missed the point and that their final address shows a deliberate and mischievous misunderstanding of the petitioner's case. Clearly, Peter Obi and the Labour Party are not taking the bait. They want to focus on the failed process by INEC to conduct a proper election. As Peter Obi has said in several interviews, before you can be called Your Excellency, the process that produced you must be excellent. I don't get Bola Tinubu and the APC. So you stole someone's watch, for example, and when they complain, you say no one should listen to them because they did not mention the fact that you also stole their shirt. Weird, right? That is all I can provide. If you get a chance, I want you to read the complete final address. It is very, very instructive. Thank you for watching till the end. See you in the next video that will be based on the Abuja 25% requirement. How will Peter Obi and the Labour Party address the issues raised by Bola Tinubu in his final address? Bye for now.